When Emma Collins was 23 years old, she believed that true love could last forever. She worked in a small bakery in a quiet English town, where every morning she greeted customers with a warm smile. Emma loved simple things: fresh bread, rainy afternoons, and watching trains arrive at the old station near her home. She often said that every train carried someone's dream. She never imagined one of those trains would change her own life. One autumn morning, a young man entered the bakery just before closing time. He looked tired, his dark coat was wet from the rain, and he carried a worn leather suitcase. "Am I too late?" he asked politely. Emma smiled. "Not yet." He ordered a loaf of bread and a cup of tea. While waiting, they began talking. His name was Daniel Foster, and he had recently moved to the town to begin work as an architect. Their conversation lasted only a few minutes, but both left with the strange feeling that they had met someone special. The next day Daniel returned. Then the day after that. Soon, buying bread became an excuse to see Emma. They laughed together, shared stories, and discovered they both loved reading, long walks, and watching the evening trains. As the weeks passed, their friendship slowly became love. Every Sunday they met at the train station, sat on the same wooden bench, and watched trains come and go. Daniel often said, "No matter where life takes us, this station will always bring us back together." Emma believed him with all her heart. One snowy evening, Daniel surprised Emma with a small silver necklace shaped like a tiny train. "So you'll always remember our place," he said. Emma held the necklace tightly and smiled through happy tears. She had never felt so loved. For nearly 2 years, life was beautiful. Then everything changed. Daniel received an unexpected job offer in another country. It was the opportunity he had dreamed about since university. The project would last only 1 year. "When I come back," he promised, holding Emma's hands, "we'll get married." Emma tried to smile, even though her heart felt heavy. She wanted him to follow his dream. At the station, before Daniel boarded the train that would take him to the airport, they made one promise. On the first Sunday after exactly 1 year, they would meet again on the same bench, no matter what happened. Daniel kissed her forehead and whispered, "I'll be there." As the train disappeared, Emma touched the little silver necklace and quietly whispered, "I'll wait." During the first few months, everything went well. Daniel wrote letters every week. They talked about their future home, their future family, and the bakery Emma hoped to open one day. His letters always ended with the same words: "One more day closer to home." Then the letters became less frequent. Daniel explained that work had become extremely busy. Emma understood. She continued writing faithfully every week. Some of her letters received replies. Others did not. She never stopped believing in him. As the seasons changed, Emma crossed another day off the calendar until only 1 week remained before Daniel's return. She cleaned the bakery, bought fresh flowers, and even wore the blue dress Daniel once said was his favorite. On Sunday morning she arrived at the train station early. The air was cool, and the platform looked exactly as she remembered. She sat on the old wooden bench wearing the silver necklace around her neck. Every time a train arrived, she stood up with hope. Every time strangers stepped onto the platform, her heart fell again. Hours passed. Evening arrived. Daniel never came. Emma stayed until the final train left the station. Still, she waited. The next morning, there was a knock on her door. A middle-aged man stood outside holding a small package. "Are you Emma Collins?" he asked gently. She nodded. "I worked with Daniel," the man said quietly. Emma immediately noticed the sadness in his eyes. He handed her the package without another word. Inside was Daniel's watch, his notebook, and one final letter. With trembling hands, Emma unfolded the paper. The letter had been written several weeks earlier. Daniel explained that while traveling to a construction site, there had been a terrible accident. He had survived at first but had been seriously injured. During his recovery, he realized he might never return home. He asked his colleague to deliver the letter if the worst happened. The final lines read, "Emma, if you're reading this, I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise. Please don't spend your life waiting for someone who can no longer come home. Live your beautiful life. Smile again. And every time you hear a train, know that my love is traveling with it." Tears streamed down Emma's face. She finally understood why he had never arrived. The weeks that followed were the hardest of her life. Every Sunday, she still visited the station. She no longer expected Daniel to step off a train. Instead, she sat quietly on the bench where they had shared so many dreams. She cried. She remembered. Slowly, those tears became smiles. Years passed. Emma eventually opened the bakery she and Daniel had planned together. On the wall hung a small framed photograph of them sitting at the station, both laughing. Customers often asked about it. Emma would simply smile and say, "He taught me that love can change your life forever." One rainy afternoon, a little girl entered the bakery with her father. The child noticed the tiny silver train necklace around Emma's neck. "That's beautiful," she said. Emma smiled warmly. "Thank you. It reminds me of someone very special." The little girl smiled back and said, "Then you should never stop wearing it." Emma nodded. She never did. Every Sunday evening, after closing the bakery, Emma still walked to the train station. She sat on the same wooden bench, listened to the sound of trains, and watched the sunset. She no longer waited with sadness. She waited with gratitude for having experienced a love that many people search for but never find. She understood that some promises cannot be kept because life changes our plans, not our hearts. Daniel had not broken his promise willingly. Fate had simply written a different ending. Yet his love remained with her in every memory, every train whistle, and every quiet sunset over the station. And Emma learned that although true love does not always last a lifetime together, it can stay in a person's heart forever.